What's going on, and welcome to the MLB DFS Q&A. My name is Tom Vecchio. I am here for the next 30 minutes to take your live questions about tonight's 14-game MLB slate. Jim Sonnets is away today. He's at the FanDuel World Fantasy Baseball Championship in Denver. He will also be off on Monday. That means I will be here live 9 a.m. on the FanDuel YouTube page for the solo shot. I also will be here on Monday afternoon taking your questions right here on the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter page. Starting off for tonight's slate, 14 games. In terms of the weather, we are looking pretty good. A few, little rain spots here. They are nothing too big of a deal. There's a little bit of wind blowing in, and of course, this is all from Kevin Roth on Twitter. Some wind blowing in Colorado, but of course, it's Coors. We're not really worried about that. So we are in a good spot. We have plenty of pitchers to discuss on tonight's slate. We have plenty of hitters to discuss as well. Starting off, let's make sure we got some lineups here as well. Starting off, DJ on Facebook is saying Fried, Gray, Gilbert, or Mccullers in the pitch with no pitch count tonight. Yes, of course. The Lizard King, aka Miles Mikolas, is back for St. Louis. He pitched 85 pitches in his most recent start last Saturday in the minor leagues, so he should be good to go. Now, who do we like in that range tonight? I'm always going to be siding with someone like Sonny Gray. We want that strikeout upside. We want that potential ability for him to reach for that fantasy ceiling, which we know he has, especially going up against Miami. We're looking at strikeout rate for some of the pitchers on tonight's slate. Sonny Gray is up there at 28.5%. It's the fourth best on tonight's slate, yet he's sitting at $8,300. So I'm always going to be taking that high strikeout pitcher, given all these options. I think Fried is in a fine spot. We do see Baltimore having a little bit more power this season versus lefties compared to versus righties. So at $300 cheaper, $600 cheaper down to $8,300, I will certainly take Sonny Gray tonight. Savan on YouTube is asking best games for offense today. Tonight, obviously, we got to be liking the Colorado game. Really not too worried about the pitching on either side. So Colorado and Arizona, of course, it's always viable for a game stack. I wouldn't hate going to the Braves and Orioles for a bit of a game stack here. I know the Orioles, not the best offense in the league, but they certainly do have some more power against lefties compared to versus righties. So those are the first two spots I would be looking at. And then kind of a sneaky spot could be the Jays and the Detroit Tigers game. So yes, we do know that Robbie Ray is a very strong strikeout pitcher. We could call it the best on the slate. Of course, Chris Sale with a 40% strikeout rate. That's only been through one game. But Robbie Ray does get, beat by the fly balls and the home runs from time to time. So him allowing a couple home runs to some of the Tigers hitters wouldn't be too much of a surprise, combined with the fact that we will have, I believe, an open roof. Rogers Center in Toronto will have an open roof, so boosting that hitting environment just a little bit in Toronto. So that's one of the other games I would certainly be looking for some offensive upside tonight. Kyle on YouTube is asking thoughts on Mccullers and Sonny Gray tonight as cheaper options. Absolutely love both of them. I actually wrote up Lance McCullers today, his player prop for his strikeouts for the over 7.5 strikeouts tonight for Mccullers. Now, this season, Mccullers 27.7% strikeout rate, certainly very strong. He's going up against the Mariners. They are going up against righties. Let's make that the active roster. I'll flip to the reason why I'm so interested in McCullers. So if you're asking me to choose between them, we're kind of splitting hairs here since they are literally nearly the same salary. Ultimately, I think I would go with McCullers just because he's at home in an AL park compared to Sonny Gray, who's at home in an NL park. So push comes to shove, Sonny Gray could get pulled just due to the fact that, they pull him because it's his turn in the batting lineup, blah, 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 pitcher still hitting. So I do really like McCullers tonight, though. So Seattle, third worst in the league right now versus righties with a 25.2% strikeout rate. Now, McCullers, like I said, has a 27.7% strikeout rate on the season, but in recent starts since the All-Star break, we have seen him push this to 41, 33, 29, 32, and 32% strikeout rate. So in 5 of his 6 starts since the All-Star break, he's been above his season average. Now he's going up against Seattle, who strikes out the third most versus righties. So yes, I'm interested in the over and his strikeout prop, which I wrote about. I'm interested in McCullers tonight. Like I said, push comes to shove, I'll choose McCullers over Gray, but I do think that they're both very, very strong options tonight. Savon is asking any weather games, any games with weather they should stay away from. No, we're looking at a few showers here or there. Of course, this Chicago Kansas City game is going on right now. Don't need to worry about that. A few showers, but no major issues. So all green tonight when it comes to weather. We are good there. Diffuse on YouTube is asking, how well do the Yankees grade out for you tonight? Absolutely awesome. We are looking at a great spot for the Yankees. Kind of as we saw last night, the Twins had John Gant open up last night. He was just the opener. Really, we're not worried about the Minnesota Twins bullpen overall. So the Yankees should be a priority tonight for a lot of people. I know that the Yankees lineup, 1 through 7 is looking really strong. I think you can be legitimately going to any of those options. Going to Velasquez or Gardner would only be options if I'm going for a wraparound stack. Going like 8-9-1-2, 8-9-2-3, something like that. And you need the salary relief, especially if you are paying up for a pitcher. Getting to one of these top tier pitchers, like Sale, Buehler, or Ray. We're dealing with not a whole lot average per player remaining. And then if you try and add in some of these, expensive Yankees hitters, it drops it down immediately. So this is, the kind of situation where I would look to add in a Velasquez or a Brett Gardner simply for the salary relief and do a wraparound stack because there are some very expensive pitchers on tonight's slate. So the Yankees are absolutely a priority for me on tonight's slate. Salvatore on YouTube is asking Austin Gomber in GPPs. Gomber is a pitcher. I understand he's set to be back despite this injury designation. He's set to be back tonight. Do I like him in GPPs tonight? If you really need to go there at that salary range, I think it's acceptable. Obviously, we're just hoping that no one else is on him and he's just far under the radar. I wouldn't hate taking a shot with Brett Anderson ahead of him. But I understand if you're going to Gomber, it is a viable tournament option. He did look strong at certain parts earlier this season. What's the status of Arizona and their new law allowing sports betting? That's not a question I can particularly answer. I don't know if it's fully, from my understanding, it's like legal, but it's not like fully turned on yet. Like it's not been launched. That's something you'd have to look at when it comes to the state regulations, or I assume there will be some big announcement. That's not a question I have on tonight's a specific answer for tonight's slate. DJ is asking thoughts on Rafaldo Castro tonight. Are you talking about as a hitter? I don't go too deep into the like specific players when it comes to most slates. I understand that if you need the salary relief, you can certainly go to him, but I morely focus on going to teams as stacks. Going to a player level is not something that I dig down to too much. If you were saying, I need salary relief at the shortstop position and you need $2,200 of salary relief at the shortstop position, I think that would be an easier question, or just a broader question to attack. I would go with Jose Iglesias. If you have $2,300, I don't think that Sam Henches for Cleveland is that good of a pitcher. He has the platoon advantage against him. So if you need the salary relief, I have a little bit of interest in the Angels tonight, going to them as a stack overall. But again, I don't go super deep into a player by player level. It's more about the team overall, and I'm willing to attack them. Savannah is asking, can you rank St. Louis team for me tonight? St. Louis at home, I think that they are certainly a viable option going up against Mitch Keller. Keller's not a pitcher that I'm really too worried about overall. Let's see if St. Louis's lineup has been confirmed. Pirates, Diamondbacks, Nationals, Orioles, Astros. Do we have the Cardinals tonight? Are the Cardinals confirmed? They are confirmed. All right. Cardinals here. Pretty standard lineup for them. Obviously, if you have the salary available, of course, getting to Arenado or Goldschmidt are the easiest answers. But Harrison Bader has some really nice pop, especially being under $3,000. Some serious home run upside. So I would rank Arenado and Goldschmidt 1 and 2. Then I would go Bader, O'Neill, Edman, and then Yachty dipping down a little bit further into their lineup. Bader, I think, makes a lot of sense. I don't love him batting 8th in the lineup, but it is what it is for a player who's $2,800. Stacking the Angels versus Henches. Yeah, I just mentioned that I have some interest in the Angels tonight going up against Sam Henches for the Cleveland Indians / Cleveland Guardians, whatever you want to call them. A pitcher that allows too many home runs. Where is he? Or too many fly balls. Henches right here. Let's look at some of his splits. Obviously not the largest sample size this first year in the majors, only 48.2 innings pitched this year, but too many home runs from him specifically versus right-handed hitters. But a 5.44 xFIP, a 4.77 xFIP versus lefties and righties is not something I'm really too worried about. Too many fly balls versus lefties. He's yet to see that translate into a lot of home runs versus lefties. So really overall, I'm interested in the Angels. Like I said, they also shouldn't be too popular in the grand scheme of tonight's slate. Like they're sitting down with a 4.86 implied run total, which I think is certainly great, but they are clearly a tier below some of these top teams. So the Angels as a stack is a spot that I do have interest in tonight. Kenneth on YouTube is asking, how do you feel about the White Sox against Wacha? I wrote about Jose Abreu tonight as a potentially under the radar option going up against Michael Wacha because I do not think he is a good pitcher. So the White Sox are yet another team that I have kind of in this second tier. I think they're 16th on the slate, 4.41 implied run total tonight. That's 16th on tonight's slate. This is no man's land, right? And we look at Wacha's stats this year. We look at his splits. Like he's allowing way too many home runs to righties, 2.15, versus righties this season, despite the fact that he's a right-handed pitcher. 34% fly ball rate aren't horrible, but a 48% hard contact rate allowed versus right-handed hitters and a 21.8% home run to fly ball ratio. Way too much hard contact versus righties, combined with the fact that he's not a big strikeout pitcher. Right, so he's not a pitcher that I'm necessarily afraid of in any capacity. So going to the White Sox, a righty stack for them, I think is certainly in play tonight. Like I said, I wrote up Jose Abreu, so he would be my top option from the White Sox tonight. You could, of course, go to any of their hitters tonight. I don't think they're going to be super popular, especially given their salaries. I think that shifting some of those salaries, the high $3,000 range, to a team like the Yankees, is very easy to shift them, and everyone's going to be looking towards the Yankees. That's why I like the White Sox as an under-the-radar option. How would you rank Milwaukee tonight? I think Milwaukee's in an absolutely fantastic spot. I think that we should be going to multiple of the right-handed hitters going up against Patrick Corbin. Let's just give this a refresh to see if their lineup is confirmed. Corbin allows way too many home runs this season versus right-handed hitters. I actually wrote up Avisal Garcia as a home run for a home run prop tonight. Let's see, do we have the Brewers updated lineup, or the confirmed lineup, I should say? Red Sox, Rays, Cardinals, Tigers. I don't think we have the Brewers yet, but the right-handed hitters from the Brewers tonight are in a phenomenal spot. I think that we should be looking to multiple options. I think that the Brewers are really looking to be one of my favorite stacks on tonight's slate, outside of Coors Field and probably outside of the Yankees. 2.41 home runs per nine, a 4.78 xFIP. He's got a 16.9% strikeout rate. Absolutely nothing to be afraid of. He's getting burned by home runs time and time again this year. So if I'm ranking them, Avisal Garcia is probably one of my top overall options, followed by Escobar, followed by Willy Adames. I think you can be going to those three as the core three right-handed stack from Washington. Of course, looking to add in Yelich. I don't think he should be super popular tonight. And then ultimately, if we see Corbin pulled from the game and they bring in a right-handed pitcher to go up against some of these righties from the Brewers, Yelich would have the platoon split at that point. So Garcia, Escobar, Adames, Yelich in that order are my top four for the Brewers. If you need the salary relief, you could certainly drop down and take Manny Pena at 2,200. Should not be popular, really bringing you some savings. Salvatore on YouTube is asking top two stacks to play in GPPs tonight. The Braves are just in a phenomenal spot. I would say if we're accounting for everything, salary, how popular these teams going to be, et cetera, I'd be willing to fade the Rockies if you're going with like a single entry. I would actually be willing to go to the Braves and the Yankees tonight, the Braves and the Reds tonight as two of my top favorite overall stacks. If you can't afford the Yankees and the Braves, that's where I'd go, like Braves, Brewers, Braves, Reds, something around there. I think that really, we are in a spot tonight to see a lot of offense from like 6 or 7 different teams: the Rockies, the Yankees, the Braves, the Reds, the Brewers, and the Blue Jays. Like all of these teams, if you told me, wake up tomorrow morning and 4, 5, 6 of these teams all had 3, 4 home runs, I'm not going to be shocked at all. Like that's the kind of slate I think we're on board for, which is just a lot of scoring. Pitchers to target tonight, as in rostering or to target against, because we have a loaded top tier when it comes to really these top 4 pitchers. Now, we could break them up a little bit in terms of ranking them. I think Ray's in a great spot. Like I said, he does allow some fly balls. He does allow some home runs. That's, of course, been his kind of his MO throughout his career when he was especially with the Diamondbacks. A lot of strikeouts from him, can potentially be a lot of home runs as well. Chris Sale, I think, is, of course, a phenomenal option, 10.7. We saw what he can do, or remembered what he can do in that first start against Baltimore. He only pitched 5 innings in that game, but Boston was up like 10-1 or 10-2 or 8-2 or whatever it was. He did pitch 89 pitches in that start, so he was right at where he should be. I don't think they pushed him out there into the 6th inning just because they didn't have to. So I'm fully on board with Chris Sale tonight, not worried about his pitch count. Target pitchers against, Savan is asking. Really, tonight's slate, I think we're going to see a lot of home runs. So targeting against Keegan Aiken with Atlanta, I think is totally fine. Targeting, of course, against Tyler Gilbert in Colorado is fine. Tyler Alexander for Toronto, I think, is also certainly fine. And then Matt Moore. Matt Moore is not a good pitcher. I don't care what he's been doing recently. That's why I have the Padres brought up here. I have a ton of interest in the Padres tonight. They are this team that I think could potentially be going overlooked as a stack overall. Now, of course, Tatis, Machado, some of these players can always be popular, but Matt Moore, 2.06 home runs per 9 versus righties with a 5.10 xFIP, 1.59 versus lefties. This is not something we need to be afraid of. This is something we actively want to be targeting. A 44% fly ball rate and a 36.1% hard contact rate versus righties. I am all over the Padres tonight. This is the team I guess I forgot to mention when it comes to some of these top teams. But I have a ton of interest in the Padres tonight. All of their power hitters, Tatis, Cronenworth, Grisham, Machado, all firmly in play tonight. I think we should be looking to attack Matt Moore, attack Keegan Aiken with Atlanta, go to the Reds going up against Hernandez. I am fully on board. Who else would you stack with San Diego with Cronenworth and Tatis with 6,900 left? This is a perfect question from DJ on Facebook. So specifically from San Diego, do we have their lineup? Times it's 4:17. Might be a little bit early to get some of these West Coast lineups. Let's see if we have them. So we don't have the Padres yet, but yes, they are in a good spot. So you have Cronenworth and Tatis as your main two, 6,900 left for them. Okay. Obviously, it depends on what their confirmed lineup looks like, but like if you could get Will Myers in there, that would be great. If you need, obviously, taking Nola is fine. It really comes down to like how much salary, if you're willing to go to a one-off and just take 3 Padres and go to a one-off from another team that's a little bit cheaper. You obviously don't have the salary to pay up for Machado, clearly, but Myers, Nola, and then Frazier in that order is how I would target them. If you want to go with a full 4-man stack, you have to take Jake Marisnick at 2,900. That's also fine. It's just getting exposure to the larger stack overall. But Myers, Nola, Frazier in that order, if I could choose any of them. I think we have some great one-offs tonight. I absolutely agree. Salvatore on YouTube. Like I said, this is a slate where I'm expecting a lot of home runs. Atlanta, New York, Toronto, Cincinnati, the White Sox, as I just mentioned, Milwaukee. I think and then, of course, the game at Coors Field and San Diego. Like, we are in a spot to see a lot of home runs tonight. If I had to pick some from each individual team, I think that going to Soler at 3,300 isn't overly expensive. He obviously has massive fly ball numbers, along with Adam Duvall. Both these players right at the same salary. I think you could be certainly looking there. From the Yankees, obviously, they're certainly a bit more expensive, but Gary Sanchez, $2,500 is very, very affordable. I think that's certainly in play. From the Blue Jays, for some salary relief, Grichuk's $2,500, and Gurriel is also only $3,000. They have some serious pop. There's a clear gap between the top tier from the Blue Jays over 4,000, all the way down to 3,700, and then dropping immediately to 3,000. So the Blue Jays are also a very clear option tonight. And then from the Reds tonight, I think that the Reds are in a great spot tonight, probably going a little bit overlooked. And the Reds are one of those teams, like when they get the home runs flowing, they're just like nonstop. So the answer for me tonight would be Moustakas. And I do think Moustakas himself is going to be popular tonight just because he's $2,500 in the split against Hernandez. But I don't think a larger red stack is going to be that popular. In a vacuum, Luke Voigt or Gary Sanchez from Diffuse on YouTube. In a vacuum, Luke Voigt or Gary Sanchez. Voigt's in the lineup? I would take Luke Voigt. Higher in the lineup, only by 2. The $400 I don't think is that big of a difference. And Voigt is playing with like that, kind of got to prove it mentality, like Rizzo coming back, all these sorts of things. Like he has to kind of prove it, get his spot in the lineup. It's like that whole, if you want to play into that storyline, but I would just take Voigt over Sanchez, higher in the lineup. The chance that he bats one more time is just slightly greater because obviously if they're winning in the 9th, they lose that opportunity. First, short and utility. DJ's asking on Facebook, are you for like a utility player for salary? Is that what you're asking? Like, do you have a salary range that you'd be looking for? Because that would be a little bit easier. Like if I could have Tatis tonight, that'd be great. If you could afford to pay for his $4,500 salary. Simeon, of course, is also great. Story, like all of these are fantastic options. But if you have a salary range, that would be great. If you need a little bit of savings, going to Dansby Swanson, getting part of a Brave stack would also be phenomenal. I think that's fine. And then Kyle Farmer, $3,100 for the Reds. Like I said, certainly an option. Voigt or Gurriel one-off, Salvatore on YouTube is asking. I would take Gurriel. I think he's, certainly a viable option. I think $3,000 is a very fair, as this flies in my face, I think it's a very fair salary to pay for him on tonight's slate. I like what he's been doing lately. Of course, go for Voigt if you need like the little bit of salary relief, but I would go Gurriel. I think that we do see a lot of home runs from Toronto. So other options on tonight's slate that I've been looking at, like I said, the Padres. In terms of pitchers, you want to drop down a little bit. You need some salary relief. I do have a little bit of interest in Mccullers tonight, as I wrote him up today as a potentially under the radar option. $7,000 obviously brings a whole lot of salary savings to your lineup, allows you to pay up for any stack or any 2 stacks that you want. And like I said, he pitched 85 pitches in his most recent rehab start last Saturday. So he really should be in a good spot. He's going up against the Pirates, obviously a team that we're not worried about overall. Middle of the league when it comes to their strikeout rate, sitting at 23.6%, but a team that offers very, very little offensive threat. An 82 WRC plus versus righties right now. That's 27th in the league. And then we look to some of their hard contact numbers. I think it's 29.9% for Pittsburgh, the second worst in the league. Like we are looking at like the perfect landing spot for a pitcher. And where's Pittsburgh? A 34.7% fly ball ratio versus, 34.7% fly ball rate versus righties. Like this is the ideal landing spot for a pitcher coming back from an injury like the Lizard King, Miles Mccullers. So I like him tonight at $7,000. DJ was saying for the San Diego question, first, short, and utility. For San Diego, like those players ranked, I would, if you can pay up for Cronenworth at 4,300, I think that's obviously the ideal option. Tatis, if you can get there, and then it comes down to just how much salary you have left for utility. Like getting to Machado, of course, would be great, but paying up for multiple players above $4,000 if you're already looking to roster Tatis and Cronenworth is very, very difficult, especially, what you're looking for the secondary stack, what you're looking at pitching. That's the only time like Nola and Marisnik would come into play for me when I'm looking to stack San Diego. If I'm trying to stack San Diego, it'd be really trying to jam in these 4 top hitters that are all above $4,000. Obviously, that doesn't leave you with a whole lot of salary left, especially if you're trying to pay up for pitching. If you just want to like roll with Robbie Ray, like you 2,200 per player is not a lot left. That's where, I drop down and have some interest in Gray, have some interest in McCullers just to provide a little bit of salary relief. And then if you want to drop all the way down, this is where Mccullers comes into play, because then you're working with, a good amount of salary relief. This is where, you could look to a potential Yankee stack, right? And do a wraparound with Velasquez. You move Tatis back to shortstop. You go to Velasquez at third base. Like, that's where you get the potential salary relief from the Yankees if you're looking to do a wraparound stack. So you could take Gardner and Velasquez at the bottom of their lineup, and then look to add in, some of the top 2-3 hitters from their lineup for that power upside, hoping we get what we saw from, Velasquez last night. The Nationals tonight, I saw some people talking about them, or just saw the Nationals, I should say, as a conversation. Potentially as an option tonight on Twitter. Not really a spot that I'm particularly interested in. Just their lineup isn't that strong overall. We also know that Milwaukee has a very, very solid bullpen. Like I said, the Orioles have some power in their bats, specifically against lefties. So you want to hunt for home runs with the Orioles going to Mancini, Mountcastle, some of these players. I think that's certainly a viable option, specifically for tournaments. Hayes going to Mullins, Mountcastle, Mancini. Like, taking a shot on them would only be an option, like, as I'm expanding the player pool, making more and more lineups. But if you're making 5 or 10 lineups, like, the Orioles shouldn't be a team that makes the cut. You would stick to the Braves, the Yankees, Toronto, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, the Coors Field game, San Diego. Like, these sorts of teams should be like your core teams tonight for building your lineups. Again, I think on tonight's slate that we're in a spot to see a whole lot of offense from however many of these teams, 5, 6, 7 of these teams. Colorado, I would say both teams in the Colorado game. I know that the Diamondbacks right now aren't grading out super high, but they still should be in a good spot. Rockies, Yankees, Braves, Blue Jays, Reds, Brewers, Padres. Like, there can be multiple teams tonight that hit 3, 4, 5 home runs. Like, and that's what you want to see, where you have your core stack having a lot of those home runs. Your secondary stack provides a little bit of salary relief along with some upside, and then obviously hunting for some one-offs for also home run upside. John Brown, maybe it's the Bills receiver on YouTube, is asking, how do you feel about the Dodgers tonight? The Dodgers, I think, are a good team tonight, or the Dodgers are a good team any night. Like, let's just put it like that. So the Dodgers, against Carrasco, we obviously haven't seen a whole lot of good from him in the starts that he's made. The Dodgers are a team that I always have like a good amount of interest in. It's just how much interested I have them with their salaries compared to other teams that I think are in better spots, slightly better spots. Of course, the Dodgers can score 10 runs any night, given the power in their lineup. I actually think that the Dodgers should be less popular than some of the more expensive teams, than the Yankees, than Toronto, some of these chalkier teams, than Atlanta. So that I have interest in them when it comes to just digging deeper into the player pool and expanding my stack pool when it comes to tournaments. So I think that they're in a fine spot tonight. It's just, I don't think that they're in as amazing of a spot as Toronto or as amazing of a spot as the Yankees, if that makes it clear. So I'm fine with the Dodgers on basically every single night. It's just like half a step behind some of these other top tier teams. Stack the Los Angeles Angels tonight. Yeah. As I mentioned before, Henches is not a player, or not a pitcher that I'm particularly worried about. He's giving up too many home runs. The Angels also aren't a team that I am expecting to be too popular tonight. And more importantly for the Angels, I think that they make like that perfect secondary stack, because yeah, you'd love to pay up for Ohtani tonight, but he's 4,500. Jared Walsh is 2,900, the next most expensive option. So it's not, I don't love fading Ohtani, especially if I'm going to the Angels. Of course, one of maybe the only player in their lineup that has like multi-home run upside. But Walsh, Stassi, and Upton do have some nice home run upside. And I'd be willing to go them as a secondary stack because their salaries are so affordable tonight. So I kind of mentioned the Angels a little bit earlier and going to them against Henches. And I think that is like totally a viable option tonight. Again, should not be super popular, just given the context of this 14-game slate. All right, so that does it for today. We have a great slate, a lot of home runs I'm expecting on tonight's slate. I'll be back on Monday morning for the solo shot right here on the FanDuel YouTube page. I'll be back on Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. to take your questions here on the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter page. Make sure you are follow, subscribe over there so you get the notifications when we go live. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS_Tom. Until next time, good luck in your contests.